because I think you brought up a lot of great points. And like you said, HR, they're responsible for, among many tasks, hiring people. And at this point in my life, and no matter what some company is paying me, if it's a bad work environment, I'm just not going to work there. I would never work. I mean, we get one life, and life is, as we talked about earlier, tough enough with just unforeseen things coming and family issues and things like that that we have to get through. But to go to somewhere where you're going to spend most of your time at work, to go there day in and day out and have to be in this negative, maybe toxic work culture, it's just not worth any amount of money. So, I mean, I think yeah, HR's function within a company is very important, and I can see the way they affect the bottom line between, bringing in, uh, good talent, but then being able to retain that good talent and that having an effect on the bottom line from going from a $5 million company to a $20 million company. I guess I would like to ask you this because again, you talked about getting your start at a smaller company, 300 employees, and you eventually work your way up to the vice president of a private equity firm. Maybe how did that come about? And then I guess can you talk a little bit about like the importance of that, like getting in that particular position in your life?
Yeah, so to me, again, it goes back to like again, life being a journey, right? Like, and again, nobody gave me the silver spoon where I could go, And I know I've had it better than other people have, but like working hard, understanding, I wanted to be the best at HR, right? I have a buddy that's in HR. His name's Chris, and Chris is like, Scotty goes like, you're like the doctor of HR, like you're like Superman. I'm like, all right, like that's great, and that's a great compliment. And I don't take compliments very well personally because of all my struggle growing up. But with that, like I wanted to learn everything about the human resources function. So becoming that subject matter expert and then using my personality and my God-given talents and my strengths, then that's allowed me to have a lot of success in my career. And because I think I'm pretty strong when it comes to emotional intelligence, which gets into like self-awareness and self-regulation and empathy and motivation and like social skills, I'm pretty blessed with those skill sets. That's allowed me a lot of success.
Yeah.
Being in, good relationships with mentors. Like I have another mentor, his name's Larry, and he was an executive for Pepsi, and so he managed 250 people all across the world. And like, I learned a ton from him.
Gotcha.
And then, reading books and again, shifting the mindset, because I had goals. Like I wanted to be a vice president of HR before I turned 40. I was able to do that again, very thankfully. But again, like I also heard a lot of no's. Like I remember I interviewed for the Cleveland Cavaliers and like Dan Gilbert's company, loans, and there was 200 people, and I came in third out of 200 for the HR role, and like that was a tough blow for me, right? Because I mean, this is like when LeBron came back to Cleveland, 2016. I would have gotten a ring because you were a member of the Cavaliers team. So I mean, that would have been really cool. But like, I've had a lot of no's in order to get to the yeses, right? So I didn't let those things kind of like negatively impact me. Like again, there's days I was like, what the heck? Like, what do you want from me, God? Like, where do you want me to go? But then I think all those no's, like there was always a purpose, right? And God hasn't let me down. I truly believe that. Yeah. So because of that, like I just continue to persevere, be resilient, work hard, ask questions, use my big ears and try to listen and really kind of, define what other people's success was going to be on my team. So that was one of the things, like I mentioned, when I left the smaller company with 300 employees, and like the employees showed a lot of gratitude towards me when I left. And I still talk to some of those employees, to this day. Or when I went to work for larger organizations, I've always felt good about when I left. I left the organization in a better place than when I got there, right? I built relationships. I've looked at, I didn't want the organization to be in a pinch. So, okay, if I leave, like when I worked for the company that did a lot of mergers and acquisition, this was an international company. We made automotive component parts. This was Amtech Tech4, Newmeyer Tech4. But when I left, like my director of HR was able to take over my position. The HR manager was able to take my director of HR role. So I always tried to make sure I had good succession planning built, and that the company, if they needed anything, they could always call me. And I still talk to employees from all the companies I've worked for or worked with. And again, for me, it's about like, they don't work for me, they work with me, right? And so to me, I think that's a big shift in mindset. And again, the leadership, I've been very fortunate where like the success has not gotten to my head, right? Like you're never going to see me probably, drive like a Lamborghini or anything like that. I'm just more grounded in that.
Right.
I'd rather, I've been able to receive so much. I want to give back. Right.
Gotcha.